We have Shannon's High School starts a campaign to encourage students to use green transportation. Green transportation are all these different transportations they gave us. At the end of the first semester, Shannon's class surveys is 750 students. So I know that that is important, and I know that no matter if it's a 2 or a 3, I should have 750 in it in the end, right? So I put that outside to remind myself. Okay. In the school, it sees the campaign is working. They obtained the following results. 370 use public transit. It doesn't say only, so that's a circle, right? The whole public transit circle has to have that many. Cycle and use public transit, that's the eyeball. Walk and use public transit, eyeball. Walk and cycle, eyeball. 20 students walk, cycle, and use public transit. I'm going to put a little arrow beside it because I know that's where I need to start. So it's all 3s. And then cycle or public transit is the snowman. Walk or cycle is the snowman. Snowmans are done last, right? Because they're the biggest area. So we always work from smallest shape to largest shape, always. So we have to work that all 3 because it's the smallest shape. Then the eyeballs, because that's the next smallest shape. Then the single circles, next smallest shape. Then snowman, right? Okay. So it doesn't matter what order you put these in. It doesn't matter if you do 2 circles on the top and 1 on the bottom, or 1 on the top, 2 on the bottom. Boom! 20 students in the middle. I'm going to make a different color because I'm a rebel like that. Okay, 20. Now, I did not label this. I got sidetracked by the phone. Public transit. If you labeled it in a different order, adapt to what you have. You don't have to change it. Cycle, walk. Okay. So these people who did all 3 also just cycled and walked. Also just public transit walked. Also public transit and cycled. Also did just those alone, right? It still counts for all the other places, correct? Even though they did all 3. They still did that. They still did. 20 people currently took public transit, 20 people cycled, and 20 people walked. They just happened to do all 3. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay, so then we go to the eyeballs. Check, that one's done. 35 students walked and cycled. If it said walked and cycled only, I would go to the walked and cycled spot here, and I'd put a 35, correct? But does it say walked and cycled only? No, so that's the whole eyeball. Walked and cycled eyeball. So in this walked and cycled eyeball, this thing here, right? I have to have 35 people. How many already have walked and cycled? 20. They have to use public transit. We don't care. So how many walked and cycled only? 15. We agree? So we have to subtract unless it says only. Or it says walked and cycled but not public transit. So we have to remember, because now we have in the eyeball 35, right? Okay. You might have your 35 in a different spot because you might have labeled them differently. You're totally fine. It still has to be in that shared spot. Okay? So look for the shared cycle walk spot. Okay, then we have walk and use public transit. So that's an eyeball. Walk and use public transit. This eyeball has to have 80. How many people walked and public transited already? 20. So how many are left? 60. And then in here I have 80, which is what I needed. Boom. Right? Okay, then we need 100 students who cycle on public transit, because that's our next shape. That eyeball is the next smallest shape, right? So we need 100 in here. We already have 20. So how many are going to go here? 80. Remember I told you in those spaces you can't go 100 minus 20 equals 80. You can't show math. You know what I'm saying? It has to be just a number, just a number, just a number. Would I like to see math? Sure. Do I mark you on your diploma? No. So we have to conform to what they want. They do not want math in the circles. Okay? They just want the answer. All right. Boom. Then we go to our singles. 370 is public transit. So in this circle, I have to use 370. If it said 370 use public transit only, I would go 370. We agreed? But they didn't. So I have to go 80 plus 20 is 100 plus 60 is 160. And this whole circle needs to have 370. So how many use public transit only? 210. Okay? Then we can go to our oars. The catch with the oars is when you go to do the snowman, you can only be missing one space. If you're missing two, you can't do that one. So for example, if I want to do students walked or cycled, in the walked or cycled snowman, I have 1 open space, 2 open spaces. Some people are like, well, I'll just figure out what's missing and divide by 2. Does it say they evenly do that only? No, so we can't do that one first. So we have to do the other one first. 445 cycle or use public transit. So in the cycle or public transit snowman, that's this. There's only 1 piece missing, correct? So I can do that one. I can't do the other one, there's 2 pieces missing. So if I add this up, I have 370, 385. So how many cycles only? How many? Should be 80? No? 60? Did I count this up? I thought this was 370. Is this not 370? 385. Oh my gosh, 385 to 445 is 60. Let's just move on. Let's not bug me about my math. Okay? Didn't happen. It's on a podcast for life, but it did not happen. And no one watches these, so we're all totally fine. 265, walk or cycle. Okay? Walk or cycle. So in the walk or cycle snowman, I can now do it because I filled in that 60 that I really wanted to get 80. I filled in that 60, and I'm missing 1 spot. Will you agree? So how many should be in here if I take up all these numbers in this snowman and I subtract it from 265? What do I have? 30? What do I have to remember to do now? Add them all up and find the outside. So if I add them all up and I subtract from 750, how many are on the outside? So we have some car drivers, you know, motorcyclists. So, how many cycle and walk only? So I go to the cycle and walk eyeball, and I say only. Cycle and walk, which is 15. How many walk or use public transit? Or is what shape? Snowman. So I go to the walk or public transit snowman. This. Right? And I add it up. How many did we get? 400, no, 415? Yeah. Because this circle was 370 plus 45. Do not use green transportation. How many? 275. Use public transit only. 210. Use exactly 1 form of transportation. So I have to add 210 plus 30 plus 60 and I get 300. Yeah. All right. So we used one where we have to subtract the whole way along. We agree? We didn't have any onlys. We didn't have any but nots. Okay, then we go to this one. This one has some onlys in it. Whenever you have onlys, you don't subtract, right? If you subtract, you oopsie. Okay, so let's talk about this. And the cool thing about onlys is, with onlys, you can put them in whenever you want. You can fill them into the circles whenever you want. Because onlys are in 1 spot, correct? They're not in overlapping spots. I can put them in whenever I want. Okay, so here we have, use the following questions below, and we're talking about children having a dog, a cat, and a bird. So I'm going to put dog, cat, bird. And they say no one has all 3. So we don't leave it blank. We leave it blank if we don't know what the space is, correct? So if you're leaving something blank, that's an assumption that I'm like, oh, they couldn't figure this out. So if no child has all 3, we put a 0 here. That's how we show no child. Okay? Now, it says 2 children have only a cat and a bird. So do they have the dog as well? No. 2 children have a cat and a bird only. So I go to cat, bird, only, 2. If I had a number in the center, would I subtract it off? No, because it says only, right? And then 3 children have only a dog and a bird. Only a dog and a bird. So here. Only is 1 space always, so you can fill them in whenever you want it to. I could fill those in before I filled them to 0. It doesn't matter. And then 4 have only a dog and a cat. Go there. 13 have a bird. So that's the whole bird circle. I need to have 13 in the bird circle. I already have 5 in the bird circle, so I have 8 have birds only. 13 children have a cat, so I go to the cat circle. In the cat circle, there's 6, so 7 have a cat only. And then 13 have a dog. Well, there's 7 in the dog circle, so 6 have a dog only. How many children have a cat, a dog, and a bird? 0. How many children have only one pet? What did you do? You went 8 plus 6 plus 7, and you got 21. You agree? Okay, flip over. Example 4. Example 5. Go. All right, so here we have, in Big Hill High School, 185 grade 12 students were surveyed. So I know on the outside of this I have 185. 25 drank all 3 of the drinks. So we'll put 25 in the middle, start in the middle. Check. 52 drank root beer and Coke. So in the root beer and Coke eyeball, I need to have 52. I already have 25, so how many are here? 27. True statement. Okay. 43 drank Coke and orange. So in the Coke and orange eyeball, I need 43. I already have 25, so how many are out here? Okay. So I need 57 drank root beer and orange. So in the root beer and orange, I need to have 57. I already have 25. So what do I need here? Then 92 drank root beer. Does it say root beer only? No. So in the entire root beer circle, I need to have 92. I have 27, 25, and 32. So how many root beer onlys? I need 115 to drink Coke. So in this Coke circle, I need to have 115. 27, 25, and 18. How many are here? 45. So 45 had Coke only. And 100 drank orange. So in the orange circle, I need to have 100. I already have 25, 32, and 18. So. And then I need 185 in the whole box. So how many didn't drink any of these? 5. These are the trouble soda water people who are just going to ruin all the people's lives that work at Cutter, right? Those are the 5.
I've never been to Cutter once.
Well, you're missing out because I like it.
Yeah,
And I like their cookies. Ooh, the key lime cookie is my favorite. It comes out in summer. No, it comes in June. No one needs to know this. Okay, explain why we placed the number 27 in the region immediately above 25. Explain why. Because there needed to be how many in Coke and root beer? 52. And there are already 25 people that have Coke and root beer, so there was only 27 that had the 2. Right? That's how we explain it. Hopefully you did that. Use similar reasoning to place the values. We did that. Continue the process. It's telling you how to do it. Okay, drank only Coke. Let's go.
I mean, whoever drinks Coke.
45. We're not listening to Brady because I like Coke. Did not like to drink any of the 3 drinks. 5 meanies. Making them take soda water out of the 7-Up. Jerks. Drank Coke or root beer. Coke or root beer snowman. Count them up. How many? Coke or root beer snowman. How many did we get? Coke or root beer?